It has only been roughly a year since this novel coronavirus showed up in this country, and so much has been learned about it and how to fight it. The vaccines that are in use right now in the United States are considered messenger RNA or mRNA vaccines. They're new in fighting infectious diseases. Usually, vaccines have a weakened or inactivated germ that is put into our bodies to trigger immune response. But that is not the case with mRNA vaccines. Dr. Robert Jacobson is the medical director of the Primary Care Immunization program at Mayo Clinic. Dr. Jacobson, I do want to talk about these vaccines in particular. And when I say they are new, how new are they?
Well, the vaccines that we are currently authorized by the federal government to provide are licensed, they're actually approved through an emergency use authorization that became official in December. The vaccines were developed in 2020 in response to the COVID-19 infections that are sweeping the world.
My own mother, who is in her 70s, is one of the people who happen to be skeptical of this vaccine because it's new, because it came about so quickly. She, like so many other people, have that kind of wait and see attitude. She'd rather not get the vaccine in case it's discovered that something is wrong with it. So as more people are vaccinated, she's happy to just kind of sit back and watch. Now, that is not something that I know medical experts are suggesting we do.
Right. I recommend that my healthcare worker colleagues and the patients who have received invitations to get the vaccine now. Clearly, masking, social distancing, and avoiding crowds has not been enough to stem this pandemic. We're in a third wave right now here in the U.S. Our case per 100,000 rate is escalating. Our death rates are escalating. The vaccines that we have available in the U.S. have gone through as rigorous testing as any other vaccine that we currently use, and far more rigorous testing than any drug or surgical treatment we use to treat the outcomes of COVID-19 infections and their sequelae, or any other disease or condition. We're talking about over 40,000 people were studied in a randomized controlled trial with the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine and 30,000 with the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. Most of our medical treatments that we use, we're lucky if we have evidence in 1,000 individuals before the drug is licensed and put into use. Furthermore, the safety profile demanded of these vaccines, because they're put into healthy people who are not yet sick, is actually much higher. That is, we have a much higher bar or threshold or requirement for safety. So unfortunately, foregoing the vaccine now puts a person and their household and loved ones at risk for infection to be treated with things that we know far less about.
Talk to me about the vaccines that we have in this country. There are vaccines in other countries. We're worried about these variants and hospitalization rates and the cases getting so much worse. So the vaccines that we have that we talk about so often, the Moderna, the Pfizer, now Johnson & Johnson is coming out with a vaccine, but theirs doesn't seem to be as effective. Is that right?
The Johnson & Johnson vaccine actually is incredibly effective. We need to remember that many of our vaccines, we get efficacy rates that are much more close to 50%. And in fact, our government set as a threshold for acceptable vaccines that it would consider for emergency use authorization at an effectiveness rate of 50%. While the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has efficacy rates of 60 to 80%, that's actually a very high efficacy rate. I think we need to embrace it as an important weapon against COVID-19.
There's much more I would like to talk to you about, Dr. Jacobson, but we don't have the time today. I hope that I can connect with you again and go over some things. Well, it seems like we keep finding out more and more information as the weeks go on.
Yes, everything is evolving.
Yeah.
I would stress that for those in your viewing audience, when they get the invitation, the opportunity to get the vaccine now, but keep their eyes and ears open for further instructions on what we can do to stop this pandemic.
Yeah, and the more people who are vaccinated against it, we are learning the closer we'll become to herd immunity, and that's something that we've talked about a lot here at 630. Dr. Jacobson, I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. Thank you.